September 11th is actually what sparked my interest in doing dentistry overseas. What was more the desire to help people overseas. I was kind of surprised that so many Americans were confused why a lot of people really didn't like the United States. I realized that we're a very wealthy country, and there's so many places in the third world countries that had very, very little. And as a dentist, I realized I had a job skill that I could go overseas pretty readily and help people on a person-to-person basis. Once I got over there and started doing the volunteer work, it had a pretty strong impact on me. Worked in Nepal a couple different times. Met a 16-year-old boy who was an orphan who just won over my heart. He was very enthused about helping as a dental assistant. He did one camp in the Southern Mountains up on Alche Bazaar, and had a really big impact on my life. It's motivated me to keep doing this.
When you initially started the volunteer work, was it what you expected, or did you have expectations?
Actually, it was a lot more rewarding on a personal basis, just because I got to be friends with the people we're working with, the local people, and just the reception you get as a volunteer worker overseas, where you're actually helping the people. They're much more. You're not a tourist in their country. You're somebody who's helping them. It's really important to me that generosity they've shown to me. So in that regard, I went over to fix teeth, but you end up with friends and have an impact on other people's lives, and they've impacted my life.
We're about 4 hours from the nearest dentist here. We just don't get dental care. So what would be a really small cavity causes them to lose their teeth. Walking around the streets here in town, everybody's really appreciative. One kid's greeted me as "Hello, doctor" this yesterday morning. So it's a really nice town, and it's great to be able to come over and help the kids.
So mostly it's children from age about 4 to 18. When I went to Afghanistan, that was a little different. We saw the whole range of the population, from the small children to adults. So the dental work is actually pretty simple, but we're getting the people out of pain, and we're also helping save a molar that would be lost in 4 or 5 years. They probably have it for maybe the rest of their life, hopefully. Logistically, there's a lot that goes into it, a lot of pre-planning, and then once you're there, you just have to hope the generator, the electricity works really well. You have to get all the equipment bought ahead of time, because if you don't have it with you when you come over, you're not going to find it in the country. You need to have good support on the ground with the local people. The kids almost always where we go are great. Kids don't get excited about coming to the dentist for the most part. Nobody likes getting a shot.
That's how it's going to feel in your tooth, okay? No big deal. And then this is my little squirter. This just squirts air, and that just flies off the top of your tooth, okay? And that's all I'm going to be doing to start with. So let's take a peek in there and see what's going to look. Go ahead and rest your head way up here for me. Okay, slide way up here. This is very easy, not to worry.
Just look back. It's okay.
Okay, and I'm going to slide you way up here, otherwise I can't see what I'm doing. Way up here. There you go. Good job.
Working especially with Tom, who was kind of prepping them, and he would talk to them really soothingly, and watching their hands, they'd clutch the toothbrushes, and then they'd kind of relax as they finally figured out, well, okay, this is all right, and just sort of the body motions of these kids, and just how they would just kind of relax into it.
Sorry. Good job.
Doing a great job. Oh, good
Very
boy.
good.
Very
Breathe.
good.
Let him breathe through his nose. Breathe. 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 Really well. Really good job.
The kids in third world countries are tough, though. They've been through a lot. They're fairly stoical. The monks especially are stoical. They just don't kick up a fuss about anything. And the kids are really fun. It's really pleasant to work with the kids here.
He's doing a good job on his toothbrushing. You can tell him that. We have a 15 refusal. Little noise there. Oh, we got a bunch of nice white teeth in here. That's what we like to see. And then we get a break. That one looks really good. That one looks nice. That looks good. Just flowing really well because the students have really nice teeth, and they've been very diligent on their toothbrushing. So it makes our job a lot easier.
But here with the first-time volunteers, it's worked out really well. Everybody's been very eager, and it's great. It's a lot of fun.
After 5 minutes of training, I was a dental assistant. They were so eager and so willing to put themselves in the hands of us, which, I don't know, it was just really moving. So that's what I'll take home, those kids' faces.
You know, we're working in third world countries where sometimes just to have enough food to eat every day is a real issue. And I think almost everybody in the third world has other priorities in their teeth. I mean, general health as far as infectious diseases or whatever, is generally a bigger issue. So dentistry, I think, is dealt with on a basis where if it hurts, you pull it, and once your teeth are gone, you just deal with it. So it's really neat to be able to come here and help them out, improve their quality of life in the long term.
How important are clinics like this for the locals?
You know, you save a tooth. You know, that's somebody's got the tooth 30 years later, and certainly not every day they're going, wow, I remember when those Americans came over here. The clinic I did in Afghanistan, it just was really a big deal. It has a big impact. It's definitely a person-to-person interaction that has touches the whole village.
Are your plans to continue working, doing these kinds of projects?
Yeah, for me, it's been really great. I mean, I've been practicing dentistry for 19 years, and this has been a really interesting new aspect for me. It's kind of reinvigorated my interest in dentistry. It helps me appreciate better what I can do for somebody, because people are so appreciative when somebody comes from the other side of the world and just pops into their village and you do free dental work for them. It's really impressive how appreciative people are.
What's your most powerful moment? Have you had any that just really stand out as far as a particular child or?
Yeah, certainly the boy in Nepal, Raju, the orphan boy. He was dropped off. He was abandoned as a 3-year-old at a stupa, and then he was put into a boarding school, and he'd been there for 13 years before I met him. He worked as my dental assistant when I first got there. It was the first volunteer clinic I had done, and it was tough conditions. We were in a folding lawn chair. The lighting was poor. The equipment was difficult to work with. For me, it was a tough transition. And he was my assistant. He wasn't very well trained at that point. And somewhat selfishly, I decided, well, this kid's got to be trained if I'm going to live through this next 10 days. And he just enthusiastically, everything I taught him, he just loved. And it was probably the first time an adult male paid attention to him, because there was 400 kids in the school. So Raju and I got to be very good friends. We did a clinic 6 months later up in Kumjum, up in the mountains. And he had never flown on a plane. He'd never crossed a suspension bridge, and he was just totally enthused. So that's probably the biggest, and that's one of the reasons I just keep coming back, just seeing how he impacted one person's life.